across multiple platforms, Traflan, webinar channel, and YouTube channel. So we have a very special guest today, Mr. Badr Ali Habib. He's the head of region South Asia for Dubai's Department of Economy and Tourism, which earlier used to be DTCM, now rebranded as DET. DET is basically the principal authority for the supervision and development of Dubai's economy and tourism sectors. So firstly, let me welcome Badr. Thanks a lot for being present for this session and taking out your valuable time.
Thank you so much, Chirag, for having me here today. Looking forward to the insightful and constructive discussions on the destination.
Yeah. So for the audience, the agenda of the discussion today is to broadly talk about what Dubai as a destination has to offer. For the first-time travelers, repeat travelers, we all know a lot about Dubai with respect to what are the common attractions, what are the common sightseeing places. Everyone has done Trio, everyone has done Burj Khalifa. But I have known Badr for a while now, and he's one of those people who is very passionate and deeply involved with the travel trade. And he's specifically very vocal about the new activities, sightseeing attractions that keep on coming up in Dubai. And personally also, whenever I have traveled to Dubai, and I've traveled a couple of times, I've seen that the city always has something new to offer. You don't literally need to repeat anything whenever you are traveling. You can travel every year and you'll find new attractions over there. So I thought that why not get the best person for it to speak about what's happening in Dubai, what are the short-term plans, because as India market is getting into the season, from Dubai's tourism perspective, September till February, March is when maximum people from India travel. So we thought that let us try to engage with the travel trade. So this session is fairly open. You can also write down your questions on the right of this link. And Amisha, my colleague, she's here to pick up some of those questions, which we can answer in this time frame. So Badr, I can probably start off with the questions. One thing I forgot to mention that we have broadly split the session into two parts. So one is that we'll try to talk about things which are relevant for first-time travelers, and the second part would be things which are more specific to the repeat travelers. And we also have Sushant on the call. He's present over here, and Sushant basically represents Nijhawan Group. So Dubai Tourism in India is represented by Nijhawan Group. So thanks, Sushant, also for joining the call. So Badr, I'll start off by shooting some questions, and then we'll see where it goes.
Sure.
So my first question, Badr, is around that a lot of Indians are already aware of Desert Safari, Burj Khalifa, Dhow Cruise. These are the things which everyone does, right? And you would also understand that a lot of Indians are budget conscious. They don't necessarily want the cheapest thing in terms of the quality, but they're budget conscious that, okay, in a certain kind of budget, what best things can they cover? So what is your advice that beyond this Trio and Burj Khalifa, what is it that a first-time traveler can see in Dubai?
Sure. Well, first off, I'd like to thank you for giving me the opportunity to come and speak to you on this platform. And I also wanted to thank everybody who's joined because India continues to be our #1 source market for the first half of the year. We have over 850,000 overnight visitors from India between Jan and June. And this is particularly very impressive because January, February was a period when we had, when India was going through the Omicron, setback. So despite of that, all the support that the industry has shown to Dubai, I want to personally take this opportunity to thank everybody, and we hope we keep getting that support from you moving forward. To your question, Chirag, obviously, yes, the challenge from India historically was, okay, you know what, Indians now know Dubai fairly well. And for us, it was a bit challenging to understand, okay, how do we keep bringing Indians back again to Dubai? Now, people who know Dubai well would know that Dubai has a lot of new attractions, POIs, and a lot of different hospitality options throughout. But that has not been sometimes communicated, despite all our efforts to kind of go full 360 in terms of campaigns, PR, communications, trade. Obviously, the team is here, and they would definitely emphasize on the fact that we have categorically done a lot of sales calls and visits door to door across tier 2 and 3 India as well to educate them on Dubai. But somehow what happens is that tour packages obviously takes the lead because, like you rightly mentioned, a lot of Indians look at Dubai as a value destination, especially if it comes through the summer period. And I mean, obviously, while that positioning is very close to our heart, we want to keep focusing on how we can educate more agents around what Dubai has to offer in terms of what's new. Now, the tour will remain for sure because it's very accessible for a lot of agents. It's very understandable and it's very frequented. So every time you get any first-time visitors to come and push Dubai, obviously the trio makes sense. But the thing is, what happens over pandemic, the number of repeat visitation that we have seen over 2021 and 2022, they have exponentially increased. So we know that people who've been to Dubai want to come again. And obviously, when they come back again, they don't want to do the same things over and over again. And that's where we started this year saying, you know what, okay, we understand fully well that there are certain attractions that do fairly well in India, Dal Cruise, Atlantis, Burj Khalifa at the top. But much, much beyond that, I think it does not do full justice to the destination if you say that Dubai has just that. Today, if you look at the entire gamut of Dubai, whether you start from the Deira and what people know as Old Dubai to the downtown and then beyond, we have over 150 different attractions scattered across the city, whether you want beach, outdoor shopping, gastronomy, family, entertainment, adventure. We have ensured that we kind of put together all these attractions in a way that they're readable, understandable, can be packaged, and itineraries can be created around them for sure. So moving forward, in terms of budget, we're fully aware that budget is an important segment for us. And as we discuss further in this session, I'll definitely take you through different attractions that are at a given price point very, very attractive. At the same time, they kind of do not break your itinerary. You don't have to go miles apart away from Dubai to experience them. At the same time, we do realize that if you're coming here for the second time, you probably have slightly bigger budget because now you've seen Dubai, you want to see it again and more of it. And that's where we ask our stakeholders, especially in India, to kind of reach out to us, whether yourselves as partners, whether the wider spectrum, but feel free to understand what Dubai really has to offer. Typically in Dubai, we have 7 pillars, which is culture, gastronomy, heritage, outdoors, shopping, events and festivals, and entertainment, family entertainments. I believe when it comes to family entertainment, obviously there's a fair share of awareness in India. When it comes to one of the POIs, perhaps you do. But when it comes to all the remaining pillars, for example, culture, I think that's really the USP of Dubai, given that Dubai has its own unique culture. Sometimes people typically kind of understand that Dubai is Arabian culture, but those who have lived here know that, we as Emiratis are typically minorities in the country. So there's a lot of cultural influences that have come through over the last century. And that has eventually evolved and become the Dubai culture. And I think that's the kind of opportunities we want to create for visitors to come and experience Dubai through perhaps my lens, saying that, I mean, in a given day, I interact with over 15 different nationalities. At least in the office that we operate in, we have more than 35 different nationalities. And perhaps that has been the USP of Dubai. And perhaps that's what Indians are now looking at as well. Because historically, we have known that Indians would come in families or larger groups. And suddenly after the pandemic, there's been a need to kind of understand wellness, try to understand gastronomy, try to understand something offbeat. And we assure you that, we've categorically put in so much for first-timers as well as repeat, that we continuously give them reasons to come to Dubai. And that's the reason why golden visas were introduced, and Indians happen to be the biggest beneficiaries. That's why the 5-year multiple choice visa will now so soon be in place, because we realize the demand that is in place from India and the kind of people who want to revisit Dubai again and again.
Right. No, fair point, Badr. So you spoke about the culture aspect, right? As in there are less Emiratis and it has become a minority population. But obviously there's that flavor to it when you come to Dubai, right? And my personal observation has been, and basis the feedback that we receive from our travel agent partners and their travelers, is that while a lot of people speak about the Bedouin culture, but how do they actually incorporate it better in a product like ours, right? Because typically travel agents, they would try to package everything before they sell to the travelers, right? Now, obviously, when you go to desert safari, it shows you some bit of topography or some bit of how the place is structured, what all the destination has to offer, right? You see the desert, you do the dune bashing, all of that is there. At the same time, what is your personal suggestion that how do travel agents give a better flavor of the culture? Because when you are in office, then you can obviously experience a lot of nationalities around you. When you obviously again go to Dubai Mall, you can see lots and lots of nationalities around you. When you go to any attraction, you will see people from all parts of the world there. But when it comes to Bedouin culture, how do you think travel agents can sort of further emphasize on it? And their traveler would also like to do a better job in terms of incorporating it in the travel agents packages, right? Because we have that option of incorporating a certain kind of an itinerary, which can sell in the market.
Sure. I'm glad that you asked that question on culture, because I feel like sometimes it's gravely misunderstood. The kind of desert safari experiences that we have, they're totally done for leisure purposes. But sometimes I have people coming and saying, you have this belly dancing, and how does that reflect on the Dubai culture? And I'm like, that's a nice commercial kind of a integration, but that does not have any groundings in the UAE culture. That's not the culture that we propagate, right? That's not the culture that we believe in. And I mean, over the last couple of months, especially post-pandemic, I've seen a lot of Indians now asking for culture, because they've come here many times and they said, what, we've come for shopping, we've come for the attractions, we've come here for the luxury, we've come here for the packaged kind of tours. But at no given point did we ever engage or interact with Emiratis. And I think that's what we're really trying to debunk, saying, Emiratis today are very dynamic, personality-wise. They're well-spoken, they're well-representable. I think they're fairly approachable as well. And on the contrary of some of the mindset that people might have, they're fairly approachable as well. I think a couple of locations that really come to my mind, and I really, really think that should be pushed. And this is something we keep doing categorically for all our fam trips. I think internally, there was a fair understanding that moving forward, every single fam trip that we host needs to have the Sheikh Mohammed Center of Cultural Understanding as part and parcel of that visit. And we always try to position it on the first or the second day of the itinerary. And the vision behind that is because if you understand the context of the Bedouin culture or the Emirati culture, you'll be able to build a lot more perspective of where we've come from to where we've been. So the idea is to come to this center where you are actually welcomed into a traditional home, a majlis, where we call it milis. Milis is a kind of place where we open our homes to guests. So it's the exact same typical kind of a concept where you have these seatings on the ground. You'll have food served for Emirati, food served for you on the ground. At the same time, you'll have somebody from their side called a representative or a coach or a guide who talks about the culture. Now, the beauty of this center is that it's not just the discussions that they have over there. Even getting to that location itself is an entire kind of an educational tour, to be honest, because as part and parcel of the product that they sell, it's not just the F&B part of it. It's not just the discussions. They actually then take you through a walking tour of the Al Fahidi district. Al Fahidi district is historically where Dubai really started off from. That's exactly where the initial settlements came through in the early 1900s, and post that we had and logically that was the case because Al Fahidi is right opposite the creek, and given that creek was the lifeline of Dubai, where all the traders would come through, it was very integral part of our community and the wider society. And I think that's something that we're really, really proud of. And given the fact that a lot of Indians happen to kind of visit those areas anyway, like the Karama areas or the Mina Bazar areas, obviously we know you have a lot of nice affordable kind of eateries over there. You have a lot of, the Karama area has a lot of your Indian vibes and festivals being celebrated. So this is really, really a stone throw away from those areas. So we know that Indians, a lot of them happen to spend some time in that vicinity, but they just don't happen to be pushed off to the SMCCU. So I believe that's one center that will add incredible value and context. And then the moment you come out of that, and if you retrospect, you would realize why Dubai is the way it is. Obviously, we know, people talk, highly of Dubai's infrastructure, leadership, in terms of what we've managed to kind of put together, this being the melting pot. But, that could have been said to any other, city around the region. The fact that Dubai has taken that lead comes from our culture and the culture of hospitality. We've always seen traders come in. We've always seen welcoming people since the last century. So that kind of culture really is imbibed in the wider, narrative that we have with the tourism. I think SMCCU definitely would be one location that I highly recommend travel agents to find out more about. Ask your, travel partners locally. Ask, the office. Ask yourselves. Another, and as as an extension of SMCCU, there's something called the Heritage Express. This is something that they only introduced towards the end of last year. Heritage Express is basically taking this classic, vehicle, which looks like a classic bus, and it kind of takes away all the seats out and put an Emirati kind of a seating. We call them takia. Takia is the same thing in Hindi as well. We call them a takia as well.
Okay.
What happens, you sit on this traditional Emirati takia, and then you have an Emirati young Emirati, guide taking you through the tour of the old Dubai. So a lot of SNCC will not give you context on what's beyond the Fahidi, but this kind of an experience takes you more into the, into the other side of Dubai, on the other side of the creek as well, to give you more context on the wider, houses and towns that we had around that time. So that is part of the larger packages that you can actually get from SMCC itself. Apart from this, obviously, if people want something more personalized, then you can, definitely look out for these people called Meet the Locals. If you just Google up Meet the Locals Dubai, they're a group of young Emiratis who are happy to kind of join your groups or individuals on a tour of Dubai and spend time with you to showcase them, and to share the knowledge and insights on the destination. That's something that we've gotten great feedback on. That kind of experience is unique because you're actually spending time with an Emirati, and that Emirati's job is to ensure that a lot of your perception issues, questions can be addressed in a fully tolerant kind of a manner. And I've seen it for myself. The whole purpose of such opportunities or offerings is to ensure that there is no hiccup, or nobody feels fear of asking questions. There might be perception issues. There might be a lot of issues people have about the culture, heritage, history, religion, whatever it may be. But and that's why I think the tagline of SMCCU is open doors, open minds, because fundamentally, if you come to this place, you keep your prejudices aside and make sure that you're kind of asking questions from a very objective point of view. And the answers are definitely on the same lines. So yeah, I think SMCCU is a great option. Heritage Express is a good option. Meet the Locals is great. And obviously you would know the Abra ride anyway, which is an experience that gives you more kind of a, that experience of understanding what old Dubai looks like. Because if you literally pay 1 dirham, you can move from Bar Dubai to the Deira side and vice versa. And that itself would give you so much context on that little strip of water that has been the lifeline of Dubai for the past century.
Understood. Yeah, it's a fair point actually. I do have personally experienced that Emiratis are very open and warm when it comes to hospitality. But most of the people have the opposite perception that it's not likely to be the case. But I understood your perspective. And I also agree with the thing that there are these new kind of products which have not been popularized, like the Heritage Express. I was not aware of it. So I'll make a note of it, and we'll also try our best to introduce these kind of products in the market. We have tried to introduce some products, but not something which has been more towards culture. So I think that gives us a good perspective. So Badr, on the previous question, you also mentioned about that there are certain attractions which are pocket friendly. So I'm aware of a couple of them. For example, Mer Beach has been an upcoming product, and it literally doesn't cost anything, right? It's just a beach. You just need to go there, and we as travel trade partners, we can do a better job at educating travelers about it. It's an open access, free product. What other attractions can you suggest to people? Say if somebody is going for 2-3 nights extra, like for 5-6 nights, 7 nights for a week. What are your personal favorites if somebody is a bit budget conscious?
Sure. No, I think it's a fantastic question. I'm so glad that you asked, because I think attractions and the volume of it and the quality of it has been a forte for Dubai. I think some of the attractions that I don't hear much of out of India, or at least I don't see them on packages, could be places like, let's say, the Green Planet at the city. Green Planet is an indoor biodome which has a lot of your natural flora and fauna, different kinds of species of animals, and that's very pocket friendly. It's accessible through City Walk, and it's an incredible experience because it kind of spirals you up all the way up, and then you have on every spot you have somebody guiding you through what is the flora and fauna of that particular floor, and each floor is themed around a different kind of a tropical animal and tropical kind of groups. I think that's something that I don't hear much of out of India, despite the fact that I think it's quite pocket friendly and something that people could enjoy, especially families, because not only can you actually see these kind of animals, you can actually also touch them, you can also carry them. So those opportunities are not probably offered, let's say, at the zoo all the time. These are experiences that you won't always get in other parts of the world. So this is something that we pride ourselves for. Green Planet has been open since 2017 and I believe early 18. It's also very accessible because it's right across City Walk. So City Walk obviously happens to be right in the middle of the city and very close to the La Mer. You get great views of the Burj Khalifa. It has amazing gastronomy and offerings. So we position Green Planet as a wider proposition of the city walk. Although it's just like a stone, it's basically just a road cross away, but it is part of the wider district. So that's definitely one attraction that I strongly feel at least people selling to families could incorporate on one of the days during the itinerary. I think something else that we truly feel has a lot of potential could be perhaps the Top Golf. Now, Top Golf is, again, probably an offering that perhaps I don't believe India has at this point, but basically it takes the sport of golf and makes it very, very simplified for people to come and enjoy. It's like golf, but on a more arcade level. So people can actually book an experience at Top Golf. You have 3 levels. Each level has multiple kind of areas and dedicated spots where you can actually swing a ball. And historically, people always look at it, okay, this is an arcade or an indoor where you hit the screen and then the screen kind of marks it out. But we don't have any screens. It's literally you hitting the ball, and it's actually going to the to different parts, and then you earn points as and when it kind of reaches a certain distance. That's a fascinating one because every group that we have taken so far, whether that's celebrity, media, or travel agents, I mean, people have had fun because initially they find it difficult to actually swing. The moment they get hang of it within, let's say, 10-15 minutes, they enjoy it. So it's like bowling, but with a golf ball. So that's something that we feel is definitely something that could be incorporated in the itineraries, especially for your offbeat, especially your young couples, honeymooners, solo travelers. I think these people are looking for something beyond, your trio. I believe that could be great. Apart from that, obviously we have, introduced. I mean, one place that I feel does not get enough exposure would be the Dubai Autodrome. Dubai Autodrome has a lot to offer. It has a card room, it has an Autodrome option where you can actually rent anything from an F3, F1 Formula cars to sports cars to luxury sports cars and so on and so forth. And you can actually drive it around without speed limits because the whole track has been designed in a way where you don't really need a local driving license, neither do you have any limits. You have a trainer with you, you have somebody to help you around, but you're really, on the wheels and you're on the roads and you're actually kind of taking it from there. I believe that has not been, I don't hear much of it in India. And I think that's an experience that could really, really be promoted. It's in the Dubai Motor City, which is really not so far away from, let's say, a Mall of the Emirates. It's about 10 minutes or so from Mall of the Emirates. And then if you take a metro and then kind of get there, it wouldn't be costing as much. They also have an indoor card room and an outdoor card room. Again, these are like, I mean, obviously India now also has those offerings, but this is something that you can do in a day's time and then move on to the next attraction. Other ones would definitely be, which is something more family oriented, would be the View at the Palm, which opened also towards the very beginning of 2020. This is also very pocket friendly. This is basically you going all the way up to the top of that St. Regis Hotel building, the Palm Tower, and then actually having the view of the entire island from there. And the whole experience is engaging. It's just like the one at the top, where you kind of, the moment you enter the area, there's a lift. The whole lift kind of comes up with the screen. It's very interactive. That has been a big hit in India, obviously, because from a price point, it makes sense. Also because today, if you ask me, the Palm Island itself is no more just hotels or party. It's much more than that. Today, we view it as a destination within a destination. And I'll give you an example of that. So apart from all the amazing resorts, 25, 30 of them, world-class resorts, you definitely have the point at the Palm, which is actually another vantage point for you to kind of experience Dubai. And it's at the tip of the water of the it's like almost like a beach because you can access it. And a lot of water activities happen over there. So that's a good option. Then you have the monorail, which actually takes you from point A to point B across the whole island. So that costs are also very nominal. You can get a fantastic view of the whole island. Actually, if you see pictures of the Palm distance, you could see the monorail bridge, and that's was the only bridge for many years now that actually was, and not many Indians knew that you could actually hop onto that and take a very scenic kind of view of the whole island. Obviously, we also then have the Nakheel Mall, which was introduced again about 2.5 years ago. Nakheel Mall happens to be one of the biggest malls of Dubai. It has a cinema. It has a lot of your high-end fashion brands. It has a lot of your budget brands. It has a lot of gastronomy and restaurants, and that's also accessible through the monorail. And then if you kind of look at it from if you just kind of zoom out a little bit, you realize there are at least 7-8 things you can do within. And then obviously you have the Eco Venture, which is the largest water park in the world. So there's just so much that you can do on this island. I think that's also not been fully tapped or understood in India. People look at it from, okay, we take a day tour, go to the Palm, take a picture of the Palm Atlantis and come back. But if you just spend another 2-3 hours on the island, you will start understanding that there's so much more to it at this point. At least those 5 attractions that I had, with the view, the point, the Nakhil Mall, and the Eco Venture. That itself makes it a lot interesting for families, couples, as well as solo and friend groups. So that's one area definitely that I recommend people look at it from a more holistic viewpoint and at least give your clients half a day to enjoy the full island. And then we have something called the sky views. This is again something that has been introduced recently. A lot has opened up in the pandemic, and I think that's something that we're really proud of because we've managed to kind of keep the city up and running, and we've ensured that we start delivering on attractions and hotels through the pandemic. So sky views is basically you have two options. It takes you about 250 meters up above the sky. You can do two things. You can actually slide on a glass kind of a panel, which actually has which is on a glass, and then you have nothing down. You can actually see the road. And the other option you have is you basically cliff hang from a tower. And these both experiences are part of X Dubai, who are the ones who actually operate skydive, because it requires a lot of security, expertise, and they're the only ones who could actually pull this off. So, and these experiences are very nominal in terms of pricing as well, and they're a bit more offbeat because you wouldn't imagine that you could cliff hang and actually kind of swing around at 250 meters down. Incredible views of Burj Khalifa, incredible views of downtown. I think some of the best vantage points to take pictures of the downtown could be one of these two locations. So that's definitely one that we really feel could also be promoted in India, and one that probably not many people are aware of. And then we had something that was introduced as well recently, was inside Burj Al Arab experience. Not really pocket friendly, because obviously it could kind of be caged, because Burj Al Arab being its own premium 5-star luxury hotel. Inside Burj Al Arab is an experience that takes you inside, as it means inside Burj Al Arab, exposing you to its finer details in terms of rooms, in terms of gastronomy, in terms of the whole passageways. It tells you the history behind the hotel, the history behind the finer details of it, the furnitures and the ballrooms, and it really takes you behind the scene. It could, for us, obviously, Burj Al Arab has been an icon for many years, and before Burj Khalifa, that would be the only icon that Dubai, was always known for, in international markets. So that's a brand new experience as well. And for those who want to get a touch of luxury, could I perhaps go for that one? And then within that, you can get a bit more F&B vouchers here and there to kind of club it up with a nice little experience in Burj Al Arab. And then we definitely have a lot of offbeats as well, such as, Museum of the Future, definitely. I don't want to go too much into Museum of the Future because people know of it already. But play something like Oli Oli. Again, I'm not sure if many people know Oli Oli, but Oli Oli is this edutainment center in Algoz, which is a district that's very close to the downtown, perhaps about 10 minutes away. And it's a place where kids kind of learn and play games, but they're much more interactive than your typical arcade games. Everything that's been set up has been set up to educate your child. I think that's been seen a good pickup in India, but I strongly feel like there's a lot more that can be done for kids. Because obviously, if families come, they would definitely look for something for their kids. And they would dictate a lot of your itinerary, saying, you know what, I want to go and experience these places. So while you have these, you have the Dubai Parks, you also have something like that.
Got it. Understood. So I can totally relate to it, Badir, actually. So last time when I traveled a couple of months back, so we could spend an entire day at the Palm. You have the Aura Sky Pool as well.
Yes.
And everything is in that one building. You can first experience the view at the Palm. Then you can you can spend some time at the pool. Then you can go down to the monorail and you can experience the driverless monorail from the start till the end and spend an entire day at Venture. And then you can again come back, spend some time at Point. So it takes up an entire day literally, and most of the people are not as aware about it and not including that as part of the standard itineraries, which I think is very easy to do. Because again, most of those experiences are something which you can't experience elsewhere. From the view, you can see Burj Khalifa. You can literally see the entire Dubai. You can take photographs in every direction. So fairly engaging places. Got it. So Bharat, one more thing. So last season, up until end of March, some part of April as well, when a lot of Indians were traveling towards the end of World Expo as well. So how do you see the second half of this year panning out, specifically from mid-September, when again there will be a lot of traffic to Dubai? So how do you see that panning out? And especially because we speak to a lot of our ground partners, and the feedback that we get is that it's going to be probably the busiest ever season, especially that FIFA World Cup is also going to happen. So at least the Dubai local hoteliers, all of them are expecting that some part of that traffic is going to come to Dubai as well during the World Cup, pre-World Cup, after the World Cup. So what are your views on it, and what would you suggest to the travel trade from that perspective? Should we pre-book? Should we book a lot in advance? What are your thoughts on it?
Sure. So to be fair, I think we're fairly excited about what's coming up for Dubai in the next 5 to 6 months. In fact, it will be a better period than even the first 6 months and we're very confident of that, because apart from the World Cup itself, we also have the Asia Cup that's happening out of the cricket cup. Apart from that, we have a lot of excitement in terms of what can be done in terms of luxury, more skewed towards a lifestyle centric experiences and offerings. And I mean, our data historically has shown that obviously October to March would be our peak. But this time around, we're hoping for, because of the World Cup, there's a lot more excitement, because obviously you have a lot of people going to watch the game in Qatar for sure. But then when they come back, they probably want to spend some time in Dubai before they go back to their countries. That's not just relevant for India, but obviously the European markets, the African markets, the wider Asian markets as well. So I think the industry has been fairly prepared for that. We've been gearing up for this from the beginning of the year. In fact, the moment Expo ended, we started discussing the World Cup. So obviously when our city briefing, which is a briefing that happens to the industry every quarter of the year, we've categorically kind of reminded them about the World Cup and what could mean for the destination. Obviously, we have a lot planned around that as well, but obviously that will be revealed when it comes. But rest assured, I think one advice that I would definitely give is, typically Indians are last-minute bookers. 2 weeks, 3 weeks is the average. I would rather you, at this point, if you can be a little bit more wiser, and look if you can start booking in much in advance, because it kind of adds a lot of more. I mean, the rooms will start filling up towards the end of the year, and logically, supply demand would be such where if you go very last minute, obviously the room will be slightly expensive. So we definitely want Indians to educate your clients to kind of plan a bit earlier. Obviously, you have Diwali coming in as well. Diwali is a festival that even in our calendar, we celebrate Diwali as well. So there are a few interesting events lined up around Diwali as well. And we will definitely naturally see an uptick for Diwali. So obviously we have the Asia Cup, then the Diwali, then the World Cup, then the New Year's. So it definitely is a very festive period for Dubai. Especially out of India, the kind of clientele that wants to come in the winter will definitely come again, especially because a lot of now your golden visa holders have more valid reasons to come back again and again. It's very accessible to come. You can book a visa within 24 hours, get it, fly in, come here, enjoy yourself. And I think the kind of ecosystem that we have created around, it gives a lot of people the empowerment to come and enjoy themselves in the way they want to. You want to do something ultra luxury, we have it. You want to do something more bespoke, we have it. You want to do chef's tables, where we actually book up an entire table where the chef comes and serves you in a fine dine restaurant, which is really a very unique experience. We do that. In fact, just over the last few months, we've also introduced Michelin starred restaurants in Dubai, where we have a booklet where Michelin has come to Dubai and identified restaurants that are eligible for Michelin stars. That was a great that's a great kind of a push for us, because gastronomy was one that we were really focusing on for the past 2 years. I don't think so many destinations talk about gastronomy, but we have categorically invested in that for the past at least for the past 4 or 5 years. We had the Dubai Food Festival that's been running since 2013, 2014. And then to kind of build on that, we built a gastronomy pillar saying, okay, now we have this as a full-blown project as part of DET. And we want to make sure that markets such as India would then benefit out of that, because obviously Indians and gastronomy goes hand in hand. What we have seen is a lot of Indians want the food that they either that they consume typically, or they want to come for something completely offbeat. And I can assure you, Dubai has something for every price point, every cuisine, and at different levels and at different areas across Dubai. So there's no point where anybody standing anywhere in Dubai says, you know what, I want to eat a particular cuisine, but I can't find it in a radius of 5 kilometers. And we've made sure that everybody is aware that Dubai is aiming to become the food hub of the region, if not the world. And I think that we're very excited that Indians have in particular lapped that, because obviously Indians resonate a lot, because you have your own dressings and your own Farsi cafes that are homegrown either from India and have come here, or there's been a vice versa kind of movement where your chefs have come out of India and said, you know what, if I want to open my first restaurant out of India, it's got to be Dubai. So I think a lot of nice fusion has happened over there, and a lot of rich culture between India and the Emiratis have come together to create unique kind of food experiences as well in Dubai, which is very, very unique to the city itself.
Understood. Understood. Got it. So, Badr, one more question, and then we can probably take up some of the audience questions.
Sure.
So, the broad topic that we have for this discussion has been that what we expect in the immediate future. So, is it possible for you to talk a bit about the latest attractions, not just now budget friendly, but latest attractions which you think can be specifically relevant for the repeat travelers, given that you and I both believe that repeat travelers would be slightly more flexible when it comes to budget, slightly more flexible with respect to experimentation.
Yeah.
So can you talk about some of these projects which have recently come up or are about to come up in the next 3-4 months? If you can throw some light on it. Yeah.
Sure. And obviously, I mean, like we mentioned, some of the attractions in the previous questions, obviously already has been put up a lot in terms of, different experiences. But I think something that has recently come up is also the Mohammed bin Rashid Library. Now, libraries, obviously, typically libraries are not places where tourists really visit. But this library is one that I really want agents to come and experience for themselves, and then to understand how to position that. It's basically a library that's made in the shape of a book. It's a grand library, the largest one in the UAE at least, and perhaps the wider region as well. That has recently opened about a month ago. We also have the Terra Solis by Tomorrowland opening next month. I think that's one. This is basically a bespoke kind of a glamping experience within Dubai, and something that probably people have never seen before. So we do have glamping sites outside towards Hatta and other areas, but this is something that's branded as Tomorrowland, which is the festival that has actually taken its IP onwards towards more livability and lifestyle. So that's opening next month. We also definitely have Hatta and Khudra. I mean, these are two places that I always mention in my discussions. I still feel like Indians have not taken to them, and I understand that such places could be unique and very niche. But I strongly recommend that people look up into Hatta, which is basically a town right on the outskirts of Dubai, and it is nestled in this Hajar Mountains. It has a natural lake. There's adventure, wellness, spa, entertainment. A lot of facilities are there. We have glamping we have glamping sites. We have barbecue areas. I think that's one that really works well for us between October and March. Al Qudra as well for more something who are people looking for a bit more adventure and a bit more offbeat. Again, those are places that we really feel like Indians need to kind of explore a little bit. Obviously, they might take away from your time. So I understand agents look for how they can put packages where people save time. But this is where we need the support of the industry saying, you know what, Dubai is no more a 3-night, 4-night, 5-night destination. It really is pushing that limit to kind of go beyond the 6, 7, 8, 9. In fact, when I was in India in June, we met a few agents who are also selling 11 days, 12 days, 14 days.
Okay.
And I truly believe that should be the right duration in which you could really enjoy Dubai. I think one more would be the Atlantis the Royal, which is coming up in Dubai within a few months. There's a lot of excitement for that because obviously it takes the household brand of Atlantis in India and really kind of gives it a more luxurious setup. So it has, as part of that resort, you'll definitely see experiences, F&B, which is very, very unique and something that Dubai, perhaps people have not seen out of India. So we're very excited about the Atlantis the Royal opening as well, its doors in a couple of months from now. And then also, obviously, we had a lot of openings in the 4-star, 5-star category of resorts and hotels. For example, the Taj Exotica Resort had opened in Atlantis a few months ago. So I think all of these kind of really complement the wider vision to showcase that Dubai is not just limited to kind of a 3-day itinerary or a trial package, and we really want the industry to kind of look beyond and say, you know what, if you want your clients to have that particular restaurant at the IFC, which is like the luxury food hub of Dubai, then definitely that should be part of the itinerary. If they're looking for something slightly more offbeat, slightly more kind of unwind, then perhaps we have the Kite Beach, which again does not get enough footage in India, but I feel like it's a great place. Now, obviously, not everybody comes for a place like a beach, but the kind of twist that Kite Beach gives it is that you have, again, gastronomy, you have adventure, you have outdoor. We have yoga, sessions happening there. We have morning walks over there. And then over the period of November, where we have the fitness challenge, the whole city comes to life on those places where people promote wellness, healthy living, kind of morning walks. So I think those are the kind of culture of Dubai that we want to now take to tourists, rather than tourists coming and just kind of getting this facade of shopping, need to get, stay in a nice hotel, eat good food and leave. We want people to look beyond, Dubai as a local, to see, if you go to areas such as, SMCCU area, or if you go, let's say, to a place like the Greek Harbor. Greek Harbor basically is a place which is close to, it's closer to the Deira side, but it's basically a full stretch of a walk where you can take brilliant pictures of the Burj Khalifa and the skyline. So that's something that I don't think many Indians know, where you can actually go there, spend some time, unwind, have a good meal, and then take some nice pictures of the skyline, because you won't find many places in Dubai where you can get that view. So, we're trying to build, try to showcase that value to Indians, saying that, don't just come to Dubai for, don't just go by a paper, or just don't go by an itinerary. Try to explore for yourselves. Once you're here, try to imbibe yourself a bit more, because I think Dubai right now is fully ready to kind of slice those layers and say, you know what, Dubai is this, Dubai is that, Dubai is that. And it can serve you on a platter in a way that is very customized to your needs.
Understood. So I totally agree with you, others. So the key takeaways, if I have to summarize last couple of minutes, would be one, that there is a lot to offer, and we don't want people to just spend 4-5 nights there, but the itinerary should be closer to 7 nights, 8 nights, 10 nights. And that is when people can actually experience the entire destination.
Absolutely.
You have also mentioned a couple of new products which have recently come up, and a couple of products which are pocket friendly, like the View, the Green Planet, Laguna Park as well, probably. These are the upcoming attractions, more recent attractions, which agents can include in their packages. And I believe, so I totally agree with it, because I can relate to it, because when we take feedback from our travel agents and at times from their travelers, a lot of times we hear that, okay, you didn't show us this. When we reach there, we got to know that, okay, this attraction is also there. We get to know from our fellow travelers during desert safari, during SIC transfers, that, okay, I've seen X as well, I've seen this Y product as well. So I can totally second on their thoughts, and I would urge travel trade partners actually to incorporate some of these components, because as a company, we always keep on pushing new and new products. But it's also upon the travel trade, B2C travel agents, who are actually engaging with the customers to educate them about these products, show them some pictures, show them some videos. And I believe a lot of that content is already available on DET website, which they can readily use and share with their customers for reference. So Badr, we have a couple of questions as well from the audience.
Sure.
So one is that there was a lot of enthusiasm with respect to Expo 2020, and Dubai had developed that into a very huge site. So what are the further plans with it? Are we going to plan something during this season at the same site? Can people expect something very big coming out of it in the near short term future?
Right. It's a very good question, because we do know what's going to happen there, and we know exactly when. It's just that I can't discuss at this meeting, but it's a lot of definitely coming. Definitely is coming. You just need to wait very, very shortly for that. But we'll definitely go out there, and we will definitely announce. You're right. Expo was never built to kind of last for 6 months. It was built for, to become a hub. Whether it was more of a hub for as a community or a financial hub, it was basically meant to kind of have its own, soul around it. So we definitely have definitely plans that are going to be announced soon, but definitely it will elongate and will show people the vision, that is much, much beyond the 6 months, but very soon on that.
Okay. I can understand that. So one more question, Badr. So Dubai has focused a lot on the wellness side, right? Even during the COVID, people were traveling from all parts of the world.
Yeah.
So now there's another disease, monkeypox, and something else can also come up in future, right? So what is Dubai's perspective with respect to that? Because Dubai is essentially a global hub where there is a lot of people movement, traveler movement happening too frequently. So can you talk a bit about some initiatives, or what does the government think about it?
Sure. So, Dubai's USP, if you ask me from an insider's perspective, is that, how seamlessly different components of the city kind of work, whether it's government to non-government, private to public. And I think when the pandemic happened, I think Dubai was fully prepared, and the kind of policy making that was actually made for that period, was very agile in its approach. Dubai fully understood that you can't really switch on, switch off, switch on, switch off. You won't go through a lockdown and a lockdown and a lockdown. You need to be smart because, the more you realize that these things will remain for a while, you just need to kind of ensure that they are minimized. And then to a point where we came towards the end of 2020, where UAE was the most vaccinated, destination or country in the world. So I think when it comes from a government perspective, we're fully aware of, the challenges that could come in the future or existing. We do study the markets. We study the environment around us. So the whole kind of whatever is happening. So obviously, the Dubai government is fully ready in that terms. I mean, we work closely with DHA, which is Dubai Health Authority, and if there's any such kind of a scar or any fear around that, then we kind of address it categorically through a full cycle across multiple different government entities. Rest assured, the way we've managed the pandemic, you would see agility in the same manner. God forbid if there's anything, then perhaps Dubai is ready for it. And I mean, our thinking would go beyond. For us, foundation has always been safety and security. If Dubai happens to be one of the most visited cities in the world, it is because fundamentally those needs are being addressed by the destination. So perhaps safety and security has no compromise, and the city will continue to kind of work closely to identify any such issues that might come up. At today's point, I could tell you that obviously the masks, at least in outdoors, is off, but in indoors we're still everybody needs to put it on. But more than just the government policies, I think it's also the people of Dubai that have really kind of supported that cause. So today, if the government announces that the masks are on, it's on. The moment you announce that this is the new documentation that's required, it's required. This is the beauty of Dubai in the sense that it's a completely collaborative effort, and everybody sees the bigger vision behind it. A lot of times people are like, but why is this? But why? But it's been done in such a manner that it's communicated to everybody that what's happening, why is it happening, and how long will it be for? So I think that kind of expertise in terms of managing communication as well within the wider community and society has been a USP, to be honest. And I think even if in the future, if there's something, God forbid, I am fully confident that Dubai will be ready for it.
Okay, got it. So I can see a couple of questions which are slightly more operational. It is regarding the prices, so I wouldn't ask other price related questions. And I also wouldn't like to quote a price on it because then you will hold me accountable that, okay, Chirag said X price. Why is the team quoting Y? So I would urge all our travel agent partners to go to traveland.com and check the prices of the components which Badir was talking about, which we discussed during the session on the website itself, because there you see the live prices and the correct prices. So we'll skip to that part. Badir, one last question has come up. And I think then we'll be done for the session. And again, it's relevant, and I have personally experienced it. So during this COVID period, a lot of touchless kiosks have come up, and we see that there is increased digital adoption. There are electronic health passports, touchless kiosks are there, biometric check-ins are there. Do you think we are going to further accelerate upon it? This is one of the questions from travel agents. Again, from safety perspective, are there more such initiatives being taken?
Interesting question, and to answer in short, definitely. In fact, if you search up something called Dubai Can, it's an initiative by the government to reduce single-use, plastic. Okay. And as of the month of May, all government entities were asked to remove any paper from their offices, whether it's printing paper, paper cups, everything has to be biodegradable and reusable. So today I kind of use something like this because it's become second nature now. In the office, I take my bottle with me because they don't really kind of encourage us to use plastic. Also, government has been paperless. Dubai government is officially paperless as of a few months ago as well. So obviously we don't use paper at all. I've never seen paper in my office for the past 6 months of the year. And I think those are the kind of initiatives that the government has taken on a larger scale, believing that, at the end of the day, there has to be a CSR component, there has to be the wider community. And if the government doesn't, address it or perpetuates it, then how would people do that? So I think we're firm believers that, everything, it needs to begin from a policy. And then the policy dictates how people kind of, work towards it. So then eventually what happens is it becomes second nature. Today, I'm happy to kind of use this. I'm not complaining about it because everything has become digitalized. I think the kind of quick switch we had to digital was not difficult for Dubai because we were going through that e-government mandate anyway. So Dubai's e-government mandate kind of the dates back to 2000s, mid 2000s, late 2000s. That's when we realized we need to digitize the whole ecosystem. Today, you can open your own business within a few clicks. You can open a bank account in a few clicks. You can file up, you can actually put up a police complaint in a few clicks. You can reach out to the ambulance in a few. So I think we've made it very, very accessible, and we've removed any red tapes. And that's been the USP of the Dubai government, is to focus on how you can, at the very end of it, make life easier for people living. Today, you have apps for, let's say, BWA, where you can, you have an app to pay all your bills. You have police, any registration, car registrations, any, the day-to-day is all done over a mobile phone. So as long as you have a smartphone, you can actually address all those within a click of a button. And with more initiatives like the Dubai Can and the paperless, I think it just kind of adds more value to this cause, because then it starts bringing that thinking to people as well.
Understood. Got it. So Badar, we don't have any further questions. I think I'm done from my side. The audience has also asked their questions. If you have any last advice, inputs, tips for the travel trade, you can share. Otherwise, we are almost done. Yeah.
I think my last words will only be, that we really, really appreciate, and I'm full of gratitude for the industry, for the kind of support they've shown to Dubai. Obviously, Dubai, we rely on your support, because no matter what narrative we build, it's you people are the ambassadors for Dubai. So yes, we can do funny initiatives and campaigns and Hollywood and Bollywood. It would not make, there'll be no meaning to them if people like yourselves don't go directly to the consumer and tell them, what, this is what Dubai has to offer. So we really need the support to kind of continue pushing the narrative that Dubai has a lot of new things to do. That is a new destination, especially through the pandemic as well. We had a major shift in 2016-17 when we launched Dubai Parks and Resorts and INGs and the La Mers and City Walks. And I think that's been another kind of a level, a 2.0 of it in 2020, 2021. So we just want that thinking to kind of go through to the end consumers, and any support that you need or your agents need from our end, we're more than happy to kind of solicit that support, because we really value the role of a travel agent, especially in a country like India, where a lot of people want a lot of detailed handholding, especially through the pandemic. They want to understand exactly what, when, how, and so those questions can only be addressed, obviously, by agents. So we definitely believe in agents and the role they'll play, despite the OTA business. We fully understand that agent, in fact, the roles will evolve. In fact, you'll become travel advisors, consultants, end to end. It won't just be me selling you a package, but exactly what should I do through the process? How can you enhance it? What are the other opportunities I have? So I think that's the kind of support we need from the industry, and we just want more of your love coming to us.
Okay. Thank you so much, Badr, for your time. I think all of us, including me, Amisha, Sushant, we would have learned a lot about the new products, new things, and a different perspective as in how should people think about when they are traveling to Dubai, and not just a short budget-friendly destination. So I would also urge all our travel trade partners who are listening to this session today to explore new products, to ask for probably longer itineraries from your account managers. Check longer itineraries on travelclan.com. We have the instant quote page where you can check the best-selling itineraries along with certain differentiated itineraries which introduce some of these new products which Badr talked about today. And just for the travel trade, so we are also planning to do a couple of offline trade events in different cities. So there we will try to give a more engaging experience with respect to these attractions, these activities, and also give more detailed product information. So we'll roll out the calendar very soon in next couple of days, and we plan to do it specifically in the tier 2, tier 3 cities. Something probably in Delhi as well in the next 15 to 20 days is what we are planning. I would like to thank the entire audience for being so patient and being engaged throughout the session. This entire video is going to stay on YouTube as well. If somebody wants to refer it at a later stage, we will also put it internally on the TravClan webinar link, so you can check it out on the website and the mobile app after the session is over as well. So thank you again, and thanks Badr a lot for your time. It was truly an amazing session. Thank you so much. Thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.